When someone spends more time watching your life than building their own, they reveal something profound about their inner condition. They reveal that they have lost faith in their own ability to create, to grow, to change, to improve. They have concluded that their best chance at experiencing success is to watch someone else achieve it. They have decided that their highest form of participation in greatness is to observe it from a distance. But I created every person to be a player, not a spectator. I designed every soul to be a participant, not an observer. I intended every life to be an active journey, not a passive viewing experience. The people who spend their days watching your moves have forgotten that they were created to make moves of their own. They have lost sight of the fact that they too have dreams to pursue, goals to achieve, purposes to fulfill. You must not let their watching slow down your walking. You must not allow their observation to obstruct your action. You must not permit their scrutiny to stop your movement. Keep moving, not despite their watching, but because of it. Your movement reminds them that movement is possible. Your progress demonstrates that progress is achievable. Your courage proves that courage is accessible to anyone willing to step out of the stands and onto the field. The reason they watch you so intently is because you represent something they have lost. The belief that change is possible, that growth is attainable, that dreams can become reality. You are living proof that people can rise above their circumstances, overcome their obstacles, and create the life they desire. You are evidence that excuses are not permanent barriers, that limitations are not final verdicts, that setbacks are not conclusive endings. Their watching serves a purpose in your life, even if that purpose is not immediately apparent. Their observation reminds you that your life is not just about you. Your movements matter to people who have stopped moving. Your decisions impact people who struggle with decision-making. Your courage inspires people who have become comfortable with cowardice. You are not just living your life, you are demonstrating what life can look like when it is lived with purpose, passion, and persistence. But you must be careful not to let their watching become a weight that slows you down. You must not allow their observation to become an obligation that burdens you. You are not responsible for entertaining them with your progress. You are not required to provide them with vicarious thrills through your achievements. You are not obligated to live your life for their viewing pleasure. The watchers often become critics because criticism is easier than creation, because finding fault is simpler than building something flawless, because pointing out problems is safer than proposing solutions. They will critique your methods because they have no methods of their own. They will question your decisions because they are afraid to make decisions themselves. They will doubt your direction because they have lost sight of their own destination. Do not let their criticism derail your progress. Do not allow their doubts to diminish your confidence. Do not permit their fear to infect your faith. Their criticism reveals more about their own paralysis than it does about your performance. Their doubts expose their own insecurities rather than valid concerns about your choices. Their fear reflects their own limitations rather than legitimate warnings about your path. I want you to understand the psychology of the watcher. They are not watching you because you are doing something wrong. They are watching you because you are doing something right. They are not observing you because you are failing. They are observing you because you are succeeding. They are not scrutinizing you because you are weak. They are scrutinizing you because you are strong enough to do what they are too weak to attempt. Your movement exposes their stagnation. Your progress highlights their procrastination. Your action reveals their inaction. Your courage illuminates their cowardice. Your growth magnifies their stasis. This is why they watch with such intensity. You are a mirror reflecting back to them everything they could be but have chosen not to become. You are a reminder of the potential they possess but refuse to pursue. Some watchers will cheer for your success because your victory gives them hope that their own victory is possible. These are the watchers who still believe in their own potential, who still dream of their own breakthrough, who still long for their own transformation. They watch you not to live through you, but to learn from you. They observe you not to replace their own journey, but to gather courage for it. But other watchers will secretly hope for your failure because your success makes their inaction inexcusable. These are the watchers who have given up on themselves and therefore cannot celebrate anyone else's progress. They watch you not to be inspired, but to find reasons to justify their own lack of movement. They observe you not to learn but to criticize, not to grow but to find fault. Both types of watchers are present in your life, but you must not let either type determine your pace. The supporters should not make you feel pressured to perform for their encouragement. The critics should not make you feel compelled to prove yourself against their discouragement. Your movement should be motivated by your own calling, your own purpose, your own relationship with me. Keep moving because I called you to move, not because others are watching you move. Keep progressing because I designed you for progress, not because others need to see your progress. Keep growing because I created you for growth, not because others are counting on your growth to inspire their own. Your primary audience is not the watchers. Your primary audience is me. The watchers will come and go, but your calling remains constant. The observers will change, but your purpose endures. The critics will multiply and diminish, but your mission continues. Do not live your life for the temporary attention of temporary people. Live your life for the eternal pleasure of the eternal God, who created you for a purpose that transcends human observation. I need you to recognize that being watched is often a sign that you are on the right path. People do not usually pay attention to those who are going nowhere. They do not typically observe those who are doing nothing. They do not normally scrutinize those who are stuck in the same place. If you are being watched, it is likely because you are moving in a direction that others wish they had the courage to move. Your visibility is not a burden, it is a blessing. It means you are no longer invisible in your own life. It means you are no longer hiding in the background of your own existence. It means you are no longer a spectator in your own journey. You have stepped onto the field, into the arena, onto the stage of your own destiny. Of course, people are watching. Movement attracts attention. Progress draws observation. Courage commands respect, even from those too afraid to act courageously themselves. But remember that their watching does not require your explaining. Their observation does not demand your justification. Their scrutiny does not necessitate your defense. You do not owe anyone an explanation for living your life, pursuing your dreams, following your calling. You do not need to justify your choices to people who are too paralyzed to make choices of their own. The watchers often want you to slow down so they can keep up with your journey through observation rather than action. They prefer for you to move at a pace that allows them to analyze every step rather than take steps of their own. They are more comfortable when your progress is gradual enough for them to study and critique rather than so rapid that it challenges them to move as well. But I am not calling you to move at the pace of the watchers. I am calling you to move at the pace of my plan for your life. I am not asking you to consider the comfort level of the observers. I am asking you to consider the requirements of your calling. I am not requesting that you accommodate the preferences of the critics. I am requiring that you align with the purposes for which you were created. Some people will never stop watching because they have convinced themselves that watching is a form of participation. They believe that observing your journey somehow advances their own. They think that analyzing your progress constitutes progress in their own lives. They imagine that critiquing your methods substitutes for developing methods of their own. But watching is not walking, observing is not achieving, and analyzing is not acting. The energy they spend watching your life is energy they could be investing in building their own. The time they devote to observing your progress is time they could be using to create their own progress. The attention they give to scrutinizing your choices is attention they could be directing toward making choices that would improve their own circumstances. Do not feel guilty about moving while they remain stationary. Do not feel bad about progressing while they stay stuck. Do not feel sorry about growing while they remain stagnant. Your movement is not preventing their movement. Your progress is not blocking their progress. Your growth is not limiting their growth. If anything, your example is providing them with evidence that movement, progress and growth are all possible for anyone willing to stop watching and start walking. There will be seasons when the watching becomes intense, when the observation feels overwhelming, when the scrutiny seems suffocating. During these times, remember that their focus on you is often a reflection of their own sense of focuslessness in their own lives. People who have clear direction for their own journey rarely have time to obsess over the direction of someone else's journey. Their intense watching often indicates their own intense dissatisfaction with their current position. Their constant observation usually reveals their own constant desire for change that they are too afraid to pursue. Their persistent scrutiny typically exposes their own persistent longing for transformation that they have been too paralyzed to attempt. Do not let their watching make you self-conscious about your walking. Do not allow their observation to make you hesitant about your progress. Do not permit their scrutiny to make you doubtful about your direction. Continue moving with confidence, knowing that your movement is inspired by divine calling rather than human applause, that your progress is motivated by eternal purpose rather than temporal praise. The watchers need you to keep moving more than you need them to keep watching. Your movement provides them with hope, inspiration, and evidence that change is possible. Your progress gives them a vision of what their own life could look like if they chose action over analysis, participation over observation, courage over comfort. Keep moving, not for their entertainment, but for their encouragement. Continue progressing, not for their applause, but for their awakening. Persist in growing, not for their approval, but for their activation. You may be the only example of forward movement that some people ever see. You may be the only demonstration of personal growth that some individuals ever witness. You may be the only proof of divine possibility that some souls ever encounter. They're watching your moves because they can't make their own. But your moves might just inspire them to remember that they too were created for movement, designed for progress, intended for growth. Keep moving. The watchers need to see that it can be done, that it should be done, that it must be done. Your movement is not just changing your life. It is challenging others to stop watching and start walking, to stop observing and start achieving, to stop being spectators and start being participants in the magnificent life that I created them to live. Move with purpose, knowing that every step matters, not just for your destination, but for their inspiration. Progress with confidence, understanding that your growth is not just personal, but prophetic. Showing others what is possible when someone chooses to trust me with their journey. Advance with assurance, recognizing that your forward movement is creating a path that others can follow when they finally decide to stop watching your journey and start walking their own. They're watching your moves because they can't make their own. But perhaps through watching you, they will remember that they too have moves to make, dreams to pursue, purposes to fulfill. Keep moving. The world needs to see what happens when someone refuses to be a spectator in their own life and chooses instead to be the protagonist of their own story, the author of their own destiny, the creator of their own extraordinary journey. But there is something even deeper I want you to understand about this dynamic between the watchers and the movers, between the observers and the actors, between the spectators and the participants. The watching is not always passive. The observation is not always neutral. The scrutiny is not always innocent. Some people watch your moves not to be inspired, but to be informed about how to block them, not to learn, but to undermine, not to celebrate, but to sabotage. These are the watchers who study your patterns to predict your next steps, who analyze your methods to find weaknesses in your approach, who examine your progress to discover vulnerabilities they can exploit. They watch with the intensity of predators studying their prey, with the focus of enemies gathering intelligence, with the attention of opponents preparing their attack. You must learn to distinguish between watchers who observe you with good intentions and watchers who monitor you with malicious purposes. The first group, watchers to be inspired, encouraged, and motivated toward their own growth. The second group, watchers to be informed, equipped, and positioned to hinder your growth. Wisdom distinguishes between these two types of observers and responds appropriately to each. For those who watch with good intentions, your transparency can be a gift. Your openness about your struggles and successes can provide them with roadmaps for their own journey. Your honesty about your failures and victories can give them courage for their own battles. These watchers deserve your authenticity because they will use it to build rather than destroy, to grow rather than gossip, to advance rather than attack. But for those who watch with malicious intentions, your transparency can become a weapon they use against you. Your openness about your struggles can become ammunition for their attacks. Your honesty about your failures can become evidence for their accusations. These watchers do not deserve unlimited access to your inner world because they will use what they observe to harm rather than help, to tear down rather than build up. Not every watcher deserves to see every move you make. Not every observer should have access to every aspect of your journey. Not every person who pays attention to your life should be permitted to know the intimate details of your process. Wisdom protects what is sacred from those who would treat it as common, what is precious from those who would handle it carelessly, what is powerful from those who would use it destructively. Some of your moves should be made in private, away from the prying eyes of the watchers. Some of your decisions should be processed in secret, beyond the reach of the observers. Some of your preparations should happen behind closed doors, in spaces where the critics cannot access them. Not because you have anything to hide, but because you have something to protect. The watchers often want to see you fail, because your failure would validate their decision not to try. Your setback would justify their choice to remain stationary. Your stumble would confirm their belief that movement is dangerous, that progress is risky, that growth is painful. They are secretly hoping that your courage will be rewarded with catastrophe, so they can point to your example as evidence that it is safer to stay where they are. But I will not let your courage be rewarded with catastrophe. I will not allow your movement to result in disaster. I will not permit your progress to end in destruction. You are moving under my guidance, progressing according to my plan, growing within my protection. The watchers who hope for your failure will be disappointed because your success is guaranteed by divine decree, secured by eternal purpose, established by infinite love. However, your success may not look like what the watchers expect success to look like. Your victory may not follow the patterns they recognize as victory. Your triumph may not conform to their definitions of triumph. This is why some watchers will observe your greatest successes and conclude that you have failed, will witness your most significant victories and declare that you have been defeated. They measure success by external standards, while your success is often internal. They define victory by visible outcomes, while your victories are frequently invisible to untrained eyes. They recognize triumph only when it comes with applause, while your triumphs are often quiet, private, personal achievements that no one else can see or understand. Do not let their inability to recognize your success convince you that you are not succeeding. Do not allow their failure to see your victory make you feel defeated. Do not permit their blindness to your triumph cause you to doubt your progress. Their limited perspective does not determine your reality. Their restricted vision does not define your experience. Their narrow understanding does not dictate your truth. The watchers will often try to slow you down by overwhelming you with questions about your journey. They will ask why you are moving so fast, where you think you are going, what gives you the right to pursue such ambitious dreams. Their questions are not requests for information, but attempts at intimidation. They are not seeking understanding, but trying to create doubt. They are not looking for answers, but hoping to plant uncertainties. You do not owe the watchers explanations for your movements. You do not need to justify your progress to people who have made no progress of their own. You are not required to defend your decisions to individuals who are afraid to make decisions themselves. Your accountability is to me, not to them. Your responsibility is to fulfill your calling, not to satisfy their curiosity. The most dangerous watchers are those who disguise themselves as supporters while secretly hoping for your downfall. They will cheer the loudest when you succeed, while privately praying that you fail. They will offer the most enthusiastic encouragement while internally plotting your destruction. They will appear to be your biggest fans while actually being your most committed opponents. These deceptive watchers are more dangerous than obvious enemies because they have access to your inner circle, your private thoughts, your vulnerable moments. They can cause more damage than open opponents because they attack from positions of trust, strike from places of intimacy, wound from locations of friendship. You must ask me for discernment to identify these false supporters before they can use their proximity to cause harm. But do not let the existence of deceptive watchers make you paranoid about all watchers. Do not allow the presence of false supporters to make you suspicious of genuine encouragers. Not everyone who watches you is waiting for you to fall. Not everyone who observes your progress is secretly hoping for your failure. Many people genuinely want to see you succeed because your success gives them hope, inspiration, and evidence that their own success is possible. Trust me to reveal to you who the genuine supporters are and who the deceptive observers are. I will give you wisdom to discern between those who watch with love and those who observe with malice, between those who monitor with good intentions and those who scrutinize with evil purposes. I will protect you from the watchers who wish you harm while connecting you with the watchers who want your good. Remember that being watched is a privilege that comes with responsibility. Your life is a testimony to the watching world about what is possible when someone chooses to live courageously, dream boldly, and move confidently in the direction of their divine calling. You are not just living for yourself, you are living as an example of what life can look like when it is surrendered to divine guidance and aligned with eternal purpose. The watchers need to see that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they stop making excuses and start making moves. They need to witness that regular individuals can achieve irregular results when they stop being spectators and start being participants. They need to observe that common people can accomplish uncommon dreams when they stop watching others live and start living themselves. Your movement is not just personal, it is prophetic. Your progress is not just individual, it is inspirational. Your growth is not just private, it is powerful, demonstrating to the watching world that change is possible, that growth is achievable, that dreams can become reality for anyone willing to stop watching and start walking. They're watching your moves because they can't make their own, but your moves are teaching them that they too can move. Your steps are showing them that they too can walk. Your progress is proving to them that they too can advance. Keep moving not just for your own destination, but for their inspiration. Continue progressing not just for your own fulfillment, but for their awakening. The watchers are waiting to see if courage is worth it, if faith works, if dreams come true. They are observing to determine whether it is safer to stay in the stands or step onto the field. They are watching to decide whether it is better to remain spectators or become participants. Your life is the evidence they are examining, the proof they are evaluating, the testimony they are considering. Show them through your movement that courage is worth it. Demonstrate through your progress that faith works. Prove through your growth that dreams do come true. Your journey is not just changing your life, it is challenging their excuses, confronting their fears, and calling them out of the safety of observation into the adventure of participation. They're watching your moves because they can't make their own. But perhaps through watching you move with purpose, progress with confidence, and advance with assurance, they will remember that they too were created for movement, designed for progress, intended for advancement. Your moves are not just taking you somewhere, they are showing others the way to where they need to go. Keep moving. The watchers are counting on you to show them that it can be done.